All right, here we go with day 91. Do not forget your name. Let's find the surface area of this rectangular prism. So when I look at a rectangular prism, what I see is I see a front and a back. I see two sides, and I see a top and a bottom. So that's how I visualize it. That's how I'm going to solve it for you. If you see it differently, try it and see if you get the same answer I get. Okay, so this right here is 5, and these are all base times height, right? So I can just go 5 times, what is my height right here? Well, it's the exact same distance as that right there. So I'm going 5 times 2.5, which gives me 12.5. That makes sense to me. So I have 12.5, but remember I have a front and a back. So I'm going to times that by 2, and I'm going to get 25. So my front and my back together are 25 square centimeters, okay? My sides right here, there's a side and there's the other side. There's 2 of them. They're the exact same distance, the exact same area. And if I look, they're labeled very nicely. 4 and 2.5, which I want to say is 10, but let's try 4 times 2.5. I was right. So we have 10, but that's one side. I'm going to double that and get 20. So the sides together are 20. The last thing I'm going to look at is the top. The top usually isn't labeled very well. So I usually look at the bottom for my base, which is 5, and my height, which is 4. So 5 times 4 is 20. There's 2 of them though, so I'm going to double it and get 40. So what I do with those now is I add all of them up. 25 plus 20 plus 40, and that gives me 85. But I will check with my calculator. 25 plus 20 plus 85. Oh, am I really that far off? What did I do? 25 plus 20 plus 40. Nope, 85 that time. Okay, I like that better. Meters squared. So the surface area of the rectangular prism is 85 meters squared. All right, let's just look and figure out what shape this is. Is it a pyramid or a prism? That's what I like to start out with. Does it come to a point, or are there 2 flat sides? I see 2 flat sides. They're not top and bottom flat sides, but it's like it was and then it tipped over, right? So I see this as being my 2 bases. Because there are 2 bases, it is a prism. And then what shape are those bases? They are triangles. So this is a triangular prism. Now I get to draw the net. So I notice that there's 2 triangles, right? And then here's one connected by a rectangle. So there's my 2 triangles. But then I also have like this back triangle right here. So that's going to go right there. And then I have this bottom, did I say triangle? I meant rectangle. This bottom rectangle right here. Okay, so once I get that all flattened out, I end up with this little, whatever that is right there. It's a triangular prism is what it is. Okay. All right, let's look. The points, there's our 3 points. Those are 3 vertices of a square. Oh, making a square. What are the coordinates of the 4th vertex? That's right. Squares have 4 corners, so I need 4 ordered pairs, huh? So -1, -2 would be -1 down to -2. -1, 3 would be -1 up to 3. 4, 3 would be over 4, up 3. So how am I going to make this a perfect square? Well, this needs to come straight across. This needs to come straight down. We have a perfect square. It looks like it's going to be at +4 and then down to -2. Whew, very cool. You guys notice that there's 2 -1s, 2 -2s, 2 3s, 2 4s. That's why it made such a perfect shape. Because, yeah, I don't know, math is kind of cool that way. Whew, what do we have? Really? Find the area? Why, Mrs. Madsen? Why do you keep making us do these? I want you to do them until they're like super easy and you're like, oh, triangle, easy. Oh, rectangle, easy. Triangle, 1/2, base times height. So I'm going to go 1/2. Ooh, what's my base though? Oh, it's right there, 6. What's my height? Oh, it's right there. It's 4. Half of 6 is 3 times 4 is 12. So this is 12 feet squared. Okay. Then I've got this almost a square, not quite. So it's just base times height because it's a rectangle. 6 times 7.5, which is 40. I'm going to say 45. Just see if I'm right. 6 times 7.5. Oh, I was right, guys. I'm getting so good. Like if you do math for enough years, be able to do this stuff in your head. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the 12 and add the 45, and I'm going to get 57 feet per second. 57 feet squared, or squared feet. Okay, ooh, we got another regular polygon. Hopefully by now you're like, triangle. 1/2 base times height. Half of 4 is 2. 2 times 5 is 10. That is just for that triangle. There are a total of 5 triangles. So I'm going to times by 5 and get 50 inches squared. Nice. What is the area of this square? Ooh, a square would be just a polygon, not a polygon, a parallelogram. So just base times height, right? 9.5 times 9.5. So grateful that we are now in the calculator portion of math, 6th grade, and forever and for always, you will now have calculators. You get 90.5 square centimeters. Ooh, write the inequality. Okay, inequalities are these things, right? An equation has an equal sign, but inequalities are like the arrows. We're comparing things. So school is canceled if there is at least 4 feet of snow on the ground. Write an inequality that shows the number of inches of snow, S, for which school is canceled. So when is school canceled? How much snow does there have to be? Well, it says, here's the key, at least. We know that if there's more than 4 feet of snow, school is canceled. But at least means there could be exactly 4 feet of snow. There can't be less than that. Like the least amount is 4 feet. Or, of course, more than 4 feet, school is going to get canceled. So the inequality is S is greater than or equal to 4. Solve for x. That means I want to get the x isolated. I want to find out what x is. X is not isolated. It's being times by 3. What's the inverse of times? Divide. Keep things equal. And I get 42 divided by 3 is 14. Now I can check that by plugging it in. What is 3 times 14? 42. And yes, that's what it's supposed to be, 42. Perfect. Ooh, double number line. You remember this? What is 30% of 180? So with a double number line, remember that we have percents on the bottom, or percents on one side, numbers on the bottom, and so we have to start with 0 one side, 100% on the other side, and then we want 30% of 180. So we want to include 30%. We also need to include 180, and 180 is the whole. So this is what we're going for. So how can we figure out 30% of 180? Well, if I count by tens, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, I can get an equal number line on top. Okay, so now what do I do on the bottom? Well, I have 180 total. I now have 10 tick marks, 10 equal pieces. So let's take 180. Let's divide it into the 10 pieces. And I get 18. That means each little piece of this number line is going to equal 18. So it's going to be 18, 36, and then 54. So 54 is 30% of 180. Okay, good with that? You remember that? Oh, absolute value. All right, absolute value. Do you remember anything about absolute value? It's been 60 lessons ago. So if you're like, what? It's because it's been so long ago and we haven't looked at it for a while. The absolute value is the distance a number is from 0. Remember, if we have a number line and we want the absolute value, we're going to see the absolute value kind of jail cells, right? And what the -4 has to do the absolute value is it has to get to 0. That's kind of like escaping the prison walls that it's in. So how far away did 4 go to get to freedom, to get to 0? It went 4 steps. So the absolute value of -4 is 4. And finishing it off with multiplication of decimals. You notice when I set it up, I'm going to I'll put the decimal there, but I kind of ignore it. Okay, I just set it up so it was like straight right there, right? And then I'm going to multiply. 9 times 1 is 9, 9 times 2 is 18. 9 times 4 is 36, plus 1 is 37. Now is when I need to think about the decimal. The final step is to see, all right, there is one number behind that decimal, one number behind that decimal. That's 2 numbers behind decimals. So my answer also needs to have 2 numbers behind decimals. Okay, I would love you to do that by hand, but then am I okay if you check it? Yeah. 37.99. Yes, got it. All right, there's your beautiful math for day 91. I will see you guys next lesson. Bye.